you need to test out the code in Matlab before inputting the answers here. Now, this is not a substitute of the command line interface in Matlab. So if you see this sort of question or this assignment and you need to understand the assignment, and then you should test out your code in Matlab and make sure it works there before you copy and paste it here, because every time you test it out here, there will be a penalty applied to the work, to the answer, unless it's correct. So the first time around, the penalty is 0 for first mistake, and if you try it again, if you press this check button again the second time, and then you get it wrong, then it'll be a minus 10%. Then if you do it another time, they'll minus 20%, and so on, so until it becomes 100%, where 100% deduction of the score. So that's why I mentioned don't test your code here, test it in Matlab. Okay, that's one. And then let me share my Matlab. So I'll be sharing two screens. One is the Matlab screen and one is the question screen. Okay, let's do this step by step, although I need to, okay, later on I'll refer to the answers that you get, but let's just do it just by reading the assignment question here. It says define the following matrix. So we see the matrix here. This is one row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 column matrix. So it's a 1 by 10 matrix. So we need to define this first, and we see that the X value is used to represent the matrix. So let me type that in. I'm gonna test it here. I'm not going to write the code here like I mentioned just now. I will try it in Matlab first, and I'm gonna paste it in the command window because this is an interactive way of working with Matlab. So I'm gonna type X equals to open a bracket, then the numbers. I'm gonna type it in 76120 -1 4 3 -2 -2 0 and close. Let me confirm 76120 -43 and sorry -143 and then -20. I know that some of you might be tempted in just copying this and then pasting inside Matlab, but I don't recommend it because sometimes when you copy and paste something like that, it will carry with it some invisible characters or some invisible items in the copied material, and then you will accidentally copy it here. So I would usually just type it back in, because if you type in, I'm at least sure that there are no invisible material copied into the command window. So okay, let's define this one first. That's a side note. I'm not going to put a semicolon at the back because I want to see the output, but I can put it there too if I want, but I'm just going to show you. I press enter and it shows the output. Now some of you are confused with this because you think that this is the answer, and then if let's say for example this is the answer, and then you will just copy this, and you paste it inside here. Now there's something wrong here because these are not actual codes. This is not the answer I'm looking for, because this text box here is meant to process your code. So when it tries to process, it will see that this part here is not understood. It's not able to understand what this is because this is not part of the code. The only code here is just this, X equals to this. And then even this one is not code. This is the output. And this output is generated by the command line interface here. So you should not copy this. So if let's say this is the answer, you should only copy this part here as your answer, like that. Copy this and then paste it here, and not all the output with the or the more than sign. Okay, let's move on with the question. It says here, what are the commands that will execute the following operations? So you should follow step by step, 1 until 5. Sets the negative value of X equals to 0. Okay, so we see inside this matrix, there's a number of negative values, -1, -2. So find where in this matrix it is actually equals to -1 and negative values, and then set it to 0. So in the video, I remember you have to use a command called find. I did talk about this in the relational operator video, where you find any X values that is less than 0, and you should get a negative value, right? So if find x less than 0, press enter. You notice that the output is 6 and 9. That means it's the sixth column, the sixth element, or the ninth element. See, it says here. So this one, it actually gives you the matrix, the location of the, not this one, this 6 here, and the -2 element here. Okay, so it gives you the location of the elements that are less than or negative, that are negative. So if you want to replace, it says here, replace the negative values to a value called 0, then we should just type like this: x, open parenthesis, find any x value that is less than 0, and then we should equate it to 0. Why equate to 0? Because we wanted to change to 0 here. So this code would change all this negative value, the -1, -2 values, into 0. So press enter. Sorry. Oh, I forgot one part here. Find. And then I forgot another parenthesis. Yeah. Okay. So people make mistakes when they actually write code. It doesn't work. Most of the time, the first time around. But usually, you should be fairly comfortable to read this error. So according to this one, it says error, invalid expression. Yeah, because this is a function, so a function needs to be in a parenthesis. So I forgot to put a parenthesis here. So that's why it gives me the arrow here, show that there's something wrong here. So this part here is actually to find the x less than 0, and then this part here is the matrix of x. Okay, no, let's see if it works now. Yes. So you see the output here, all the negative value, -1 and -2, has been changed to 0. So this is the code. This is the answer that we're looking for. So we copy this, and then we paste it in the answer box. Now, as practice, let's go through the third, fourth, and second step. Extract the values of x greater than 3 to a vector y. So we want to find any values that's greater than 3 and put it inside a vector y. Use the same style. Okay, y, we want to extract and put it inside y. So y equals to x, and then we find any x value that is greater than 3. So this one finds all the elements that are greater than 3, find it within this x value, and then put it inside y. Let me double confirm this. Yes, more is greater than 3. Then I press enter. Now I create another matrix y that contains 7, 6, and 4. Okay, so far so good. I think that should be it. Oh, and then I did mention here, do not put a semicolon at the end of the line. Write only a line of code for each instruction. So I guess this fits that criteria. So this is the code that I want. I copy this. I paste it here. Okay, the third instruction. Add 3 to the values in x that are equal to 2. So here it means that we need to find values in x that are equal to 2 first. Then we add 3 to that value. It's just x type in find x equals to 2. Let me check. Add 3 to the values of x that are equal to 2. Okay, so this one would list the values. Let me just check this whether this is correct, because we see here inside the matrix, the 2 values are here, just this one. Okay, press enter. Yes, we did find it. And then we need to add 3 to the value. So that means we just, this is correct, and then you plus 3. That's the answer. So this is the code that we want, actually, because we find the values of 2 inside the matrix X, and then we add it to 3. So I copy this, and I paste it here. That's the answer. Okay, the next one is set the values of X that are less than the mean to 0. It says here that we need to set the values of X that are less than the mean. So here, we actually need to use a function called mean. Mean is actually just to find the average value for all the elements inside here. So let's try that out. I'm going to clear this because it's going too much to the bottom. CLC. Okay. Now, every time you type CLC, it clears the command window, but your code is still around, and then your workspace is still populated. So you don't have to worry that it clears everything inside your workspace or your work at the moment. So remember, I need to find the mean. So the mean is a function of X. So X is this matrix here, 7, 6, 1, 2, all this, and we want to find the average value inside this X. So it's mean X equals to this. This is the mean value. This 2.3 000 value is the mean of the 7, 6, 1, 2, 0, negative 1, 4, 3, negative 2, and 0. Now we want to find any value inside X that are less than the mean, and we put it to 0. So remember, the mean is 2.3. So is this 7 a value less than 2.3? No, this is higher, so this won't change. This is also higher, it won't change. 1 is lower, so this one will change to 0. 2 is lower, it will change to 0. 0 is lower, it will change to 0. Negative 1 is lower, change to 0. 4 is higher, so it will stay the same. 3 is higher, it will stay the same. Negative 2 is lower, so 0, and this will also be 0. So we can guess what kind of values would be displayed or would result from the operation that we're going to do just by thinking about this command. But how do we write this in code? So we know that the mean is set to 0. We need to find the mean first, and we need to find any values that are less than mean to 0. Okay, let me go back. Set the values of X that are less than the mean to 0. So X, find less than the mean. So mean of X that's less than the mean of X equals to 0. Let me think about this for a while. So here it says, find any X values that are less than the mean to 0. Okay, before I do this, let me do something else first. Let me check whether this is right or wrong. I like to do it step by step. Let's try find X less than the mean of X. So what do I get? X less than the mean of X. Yes, it shows here. This is the third element, 4th, 5th, 6th, 9, and 10. So is that true? The third element, is it less than the mean? Yes, it is less than the mean. And we go to the next one. 4th element, is it less than the mean? Yes, it is. So this is the index that we want. Now we just need to assign this to 0. So we say X the matrix, then we find X that is less than the mean of X, and then we equal it to 0. So let me check whether this is right. Should be correct. So again, you see we find the X here, and we find all the things that are changing. I mean that's less than the mean inside. We know the location, and anything that's less than the mean equals to 0. So we press enter here. Let's see. Incorrect use of equal operator. Let's clear up everything. Okay, let's try that again. Find X that's less than the mean of X. Yes, this is correct. And then X, find X less than the mean of X. Close. Yes. And then we want it to be replaced by the value 0. Yeah, there it is. See, anything that's lower than the mean would change to 0. So that's what the question wants actually. And this is the code to achieve that in one line. So I copy this, then I paste it there. And then the final question here. Okay, set the values of x that are greater than the mean to the difference with the mean. Okay, so this is even more trickier than the one before, but it's related. What we are working on is after it's no longer this original value, it's actually changed to the new value, which is in this case here, this value here now, because we assign. Every time there's an equal value means that we have assigned it to something. So coming back, set the values of x that are greater than the mean to the difference with the mean. Okay, any values that's more than the mean. So just now the mean was 2.3. So means like something like here 7, 6, and then 4, 3. Okay, we need to change this value to something which is the difference with the mean. That means we get the mean value, then we minus their value with the mean, and we get that value. We put it inside, we change it. So we can do this step by step. X that are greater than the mean, we need to find first. I think we did it just now, which is find x that is greater than the mean. Okay. So 1, 2, 7, and 8. And then we need to change these values into the difference, to their difference with the mean. So it's actually x, find x more than the mean. Okay, this is the one like before. I'll just test this to see whether it works. Oh, it doesn't work. I think I left something. Oh yeah, I left a semicolon, sorry, a parenthesis at the back. Did you mean yes? Okay, so be careful. Sometimes there'll be errors, so make sure you read the error. So when it says here, there's an arrow here, so there might be something wrong here. So this will give you a hint of the error in the code. Okay, because just now I forgot to put a parenthesis at the back. Now, this is the code here. This one would identify all of the values inside here that are more than the mean. So once we identified the values that are more than the mean, then we greater than the mean to their difference with the mean. So find these values. Okay, x. Let me just clear the screen again. Okay. To their difference with the mean. Let's see now. So these values. Now these ones are 7, 6, 4, and 3. 7, 6, 4, and 3. And then we get the difference with the mean. Difference with the mean. So this 7, 6, 4, and 3 minus the mean of x. So let's see the output. Yep. So you see the mean just now was 2 something. So 7 minus 5, 6 minus 2, sorry, 7 minus 2, you get like 5, 6 minus 2, 4 minus 2, 3 minus 2, you get 1. So this is the difference. You see the values that are more than the mean minus the actual mean. This is the value. And then I think we says here set the values of x that are greater than the mean to the difference. Okay, so we need to set the values of x. So what we do here just now is just find the difference, but we need to set it. So basically it's just x, then open parentheses, type the same code. Let's see. X, wait, let me check again whether this one works or not. Minus mean x 7056. Let me try this again. Find x minus the mean. So x here minus the mean here. This one is correct. 5421 minus mean. because if I set it, then it would change. The values would change and I have to start from the beginning, so that's why I need to be careful here. So find x, mean x minus mean x here. Oh, by the way, if let's say you're going through your code and then you want to go back to the previous code that you've written, you can press the arrow key and it'll go back to the history. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now. So, oops, I forgot I press enter. Just 1 second. Okay, let's go through the logic here. First, we need to find x that is more than the mean. And then whatever x values here, we should minus with the mean x. And then these values, the values, the resulting value here should be replacing the x value here. Find x that is more than the mean, find those values, and then replace it by these values. I think this was okay, this is okay, this is okay. We did this part here, but I forgot to mention just now, we need to assign it to add 3 to the values x that are equal to 2 and then assign it to those values. So here you notice that we reset the value of the x we find equals to 2 here. We add it with 3 and we replace the value inside x to get same as this line here and also this line here. Okay, so this is the code that you need to write, and notice that you don't put your answer inside, you don't test it here, because if you test it that many times, because even for me when I was doing it, I didn't have the answer, so I would need to test it out myself to see whether it works here, and then once I know it works, that's what the question wants, then I copy and paste it here, and then I press check here. So let's say if I press check, and then you get your mark here. Now if you try it many times, then you'll get reduced marks by, you get I think 11 times chance before it becomes 100%, so that's enough time for you to check. But don't keep on checking it here. Always copy, figure out the question, copy write the code, and then inside Matlab test it, see if it works, then only you put it inside here to check, and then if you get the mark, then that's the answer.